Doing fabulous. It's great to hear your voice and see you again.
Likewise, likewise.
By the way, I really enjoyed when you were hosting in Scott's absence. The format and all, you did excellent.
Thank you. Scott is an amazing, not only, of course, with the knowledge, he's got a lot of patience and he's got a lot of stamina. It's hard to answer questions, especially the kind of questions he answers, and it's hard. But I'm glad he's back, and thank you. So today, what I was thinking was I didn't have a guest and I didn't plan any topic, and I thought it's one of those days where I can just answer questions. We'll just open it up to everyone in the audience. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand as early as now, and that's all we're going to do in this call.
Oh, yeah.
No-
He wants me to do something. I will.
would you
Yep.
just keep your mics muted for now? Just a couple of announcements, and then I will start taking questions. So, about questions, don't feel if it's a very basic question or it's a question that is like, you'd be embarrassed if you ask us, especially in this call, don't ever think that. So no question is a wrong question, stupid question, or anything like that. Don't worry about that. If you don't ask now, that might be a problem that, get to a situation where you're already buying, you're doing a transaction, and you're thinking, I wish I had asked this question. And then now you're right at the moment when you're actually in the transaction and you're trying to figure out something and you're stuck. So this is a good time to ask those questions. So you can raise your hand as early as now. So I do have one more update that I wanted to tell everyone that if you're on this call, you're still a newbie and you've done at least one slow flip yourself, and you're looking for private money lender, then I have some good news for you that this week, this Saturday will be the last Saturday when I'll be teaching a class that is graduating. These are students of within our community who wanted to lend to other people in the community, and they stepped up and they said that they needed help in terms of learning the ins and out of lending to other people, which means becoming a private money lender. So I did a 8-week certification course for them, and I'm happy to say that all 9 of them are going to be certified this Saturday. And beginning next week, we're going to start posting one private money lender at a time, which means they're going to open up for applications. You can apply, and if you get approved, of course, they will lend to you. So that you do have to have done at least one slow flip. That I understand. So that's the news, and I'm hoping that will help. My goal is going forward, I may train some other people who are interested in becoming private money lender. All right. So, like I said, today we do not have a guest and we do not have any specific topic that have chosen. Usually, that's how the formats are of these calls. Today, what we are going to do is we're just going to do question and answer. So, no question is very basic. No question is, something that is you should be embarrassed about, or somebody might think that you should know about it. This is a newbie call, so this is the place where you can ask that question. All right, so raise your hand by clicking on React and raise your hand from there. And meanwhile, please keep your mics muted. And that's what we'll do for this call, hopefully. Yeah, before I do something, let me do this. I like doing this. I think this is fun because when people see the recording, they have no idea, who showed up for these calls. So what I would like to say is just shout out your name that you're here. You don't have to say anything. I see Liz is here, Bob is here, of course. V is here, Ricardo is here, Maya is here, Alex is here, CTJ is here, Ethan is here, Brad is here, Chris is here, Cindy's here, DNR Limited is here, Dan is here, David is here, Eric is here, Felicia is here, Francis is here, Mary is here, and of course, Major is here, Michael is here, and then Pat is here, Scott is here, Sean is here, another Sean is here. So I'm glad that you took time to be here today. So like I said, today all we're going to do is we're going to take questions. All right, so let's start with Liz. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thank
How
you
are you?
for
I'm on a
thank you
call,
for
Ray.
taking my call. Okay, so I've been going through the training. Some of them are locked, so I'm not sure, but I feel like I'm pretty much I've gone through the slow flip and I'm now watching a 3-day workshop,
Mm-hmm.
which I think from what I could tell was done back in 2017. And I know a lot has changed in real estate since then. You know, this was before COVID and a lot of things have changed. And want to know, I feel like I'm trying to find, because he says we need to look at 100 properties, but I haven't found really any training that really does a deep dive on how to go about even doing that. It's highlighted, like you mentioned, you know, he mentions it, but I haven't really seen a training where, and maybe it doesn't exist, but I feel like, okay, I don't even know how to evaluate properties. I don't even know what I'm looking for, you know,
I
I
understand.
so I
Very.
don't know if I'm not to that course yet. And also on wholesaling, it was just kind of touched over in that workshop, but like almost kind of like this is what wholesaling is, but not really training on this is how you wholesale, this is how you evaluate properties to come up with a price. So I still feel lost. Like,
Okay.
okay.
Fair enough. No, and that's a very good question. And that's a common thing with for newbies to be overwhelmed because there are a lot of information. So let's start with the unlocking part. I believe Major is on the call, and how that works is Scott has on purpose locked some advanced stuff. So let's say you just joined the course and you want to jump to chapter 7 or 8. Obviously, he doesn't want you to do that, so that's why it's locked. But that there's a way to unlock it. And Major, unmute yourself and just is it just if for her to send a email to support at what is that email so she can send that email so they can unlock it? Okay, maybe Major is not available. So you know who AJ is, Liz?
Yes.
Okay,
I've
so
seen
just send a message to AJ and tell him, can you please unlock this next module that I want to view, and he'll just lock it for you. All right. So that takes care of that. Now, your second point about things being outdated because it was done in 2017. First of all, Scott's been around real estate for a very, very long time. And you have to understand in real estate, there are 16-year cycles. All right. So he's seen several of these cycles. So on purpose, he has not put anything that, as far as I know, that is date specific or uh, area specific. He tried to generalize as much as he can, which means just because it was done in 2017 doesn't mean that it's going to be outdated. All right.
Okay.
Now, having said that, it is true, real estate regulations do vary from county to county, even state to state. That happens all the time. And that's one reason why also, he doesn't want to go into too much details, because if he did, then people will say, well, it doesn't apply here and it doesn't apply here. So he has to talk about a broad-based strategy that apply to most, circumstances. All right. So hopefully that answers that part. Now, your other question about how to go about, you talked about two different things. One was about slow flips and one was about wholesaling. Tell me about your experience in real estate before joining slow flips program.
Really zero. I'm in a different program that I joined in January, so I've gone through that training. But that's where I was left, like, because that training, I realized, oh wow, I don't want to be a landlord.
Right.
And it was through that where I met someone that told me about this, and I'm like, that sounds more like my cup of tea. So I mean, I haven't done anything in real estate. I
Okay.
just got involved in these courses in January. So
Okay. So then this is what I would suggest. I've done at least maybe 25 videos. I've been doing these calls for about a year now. So do you know where the link is for the old recordings. There's a URL. Let me put that in. If somebody has that handy, if you don't mind, put it in the chat. I may have to look for it. It's on school, by the way. So
Is it
all
under
these calls,
classroom?
no. So what it is because I don't work for the Freedom Accelerator program. I'm just volunteering to be here, right? So I can't go in school and save it there. So I simply put it on my website. So the
Oh,
link is, I'll just look up the link and I'll put it in a moment. My point is that those videos are done for exactly the same purpose that you're talking about. It is meant for people who have either no real estate experience or very little real estate experience. So I'll show you how in some of those videos, there's a video I did very deep dive into how to, for example, look for a sold comps. So I actually show you step by step with visuals. So I don't just talk, I actually share my screen and show you how to do that.
okay.
And then there's another one which I suggest, it's actually on schools. I posted it on purpose. It actually shows you the entire process. If you're new, from what is the first thing you should do, what is the second thing you should do, what is the third thing you should do, because what's happening is there's so much information, you also get lost. Well, should I be doing this? Should I set up my LLC? Should I do blah, 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 and it gets really, really confusing. So definitely watch that video first, then go into and watch some of my other videos. And those are nothing of anything that I created. None of it contradicts what Scott is teaching. All right.
Okay.
It's all supplementary material. So there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I do have a suggestion for you is that the other program that you mentioned, I'm not going to be in a position to make a decision for you, but my suggestion is really, like you said, you don't want to be a landlord. So I would stay away from those programs until you really absorb what's in the Freedom Accelerator program and the community and everything. We have everything that you will ever need. I
Okay.
tell you, one of the most helpful community you will find anywhere else, right? People will go out of their way to help you out. If you put up a message and you open up and say, hey, I need help, can you tell me this? But be specific. Don't ask very broad questions, because a lot of time people just put something out there, and the problem is then you'll get all sorts of answers. So be very specific, ask one question at a time, you'll get the right answer. So hopefully
Okay.
that helped. I'll put that link in for you, where my videos are. Oh, sorry. Meanwhile, do you have any other questions, or did I answer your questions?
No, I mean that's really, where I'm kind of stuck, because I want to learn wholesaling as well to create now money while I'm, working on buying SlowFlips. And so I'm like, okay, I saw in the 3-day workshop he covered wholesaling, but really not to the degree where I would know how to go out and start doing that. So I didn't know if there was another area that he did more training or.
So if you're brand new to real estate, wholesaling is a little bit more, there's a little bit more work involved. You just can't just go out, because you got to understand how contracts are written. You have to understand basic knowledge about how title companies work. You have to understand what is the main main document that will allow you to wholesale, and that is assignment of contracts. That's how you're going to be doing that. And if you don't understand that, then it's just, you can't just go out and look for properties, because you're going to get stuck there. So I would just do a little bit research on that. I'm pretty sure the modules are there. I don't remember offhand, but are you sure? Have you gone through the entire module that talks about wholesale?
Yeah, at that workshop where he.
Well, here's what I would suggest. This is what I think, because the whole program is so spread out, I would not make a decision, or I'm not saying that don't take any action before you finish the modules. My suggestion is try to just complete the entire program as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm telling you, that will really, really show you the entire picture. Otherwise, it's like you're seeing part of the picture and then you're trying to do something else, and it is just hard. So my first suggestion is just take your time. Don't rush into anything. Just complete the program.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Bob. Go ahead.
Hello there.
Hey.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Bob, go ahead.
Yes. I just on Facebook Marketplace in the last few weeks, I've been quote submitting offers, just kind of doing what Joey shows, kind of chatting with the people. And I actually had somebody come back, a seller, when I asked, would you be open to seller financing? Not everybody can. He came back and he said, sure, 50%, you pay half of it and I'll finance the rest. And I thought, well, I like the first part, but not the second part. So I went ahead and used the one-page contract out
Okay.
of school, sent it, basically presented him the terms as though he was my private money lender. And and I dropped the price a little bit. I mean, I offered him $2,000, right, at closing, no earnest money. But he's the private money lender, and he came back and he said, "Looks good, let's close." So we've got closed. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh,
So where
thank you.
is the house? And tell us about the house a little bit.
Well, it's a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
And I've really not seen too many pictures. He called it a fixer-upper,
Okay.
but I've only seen a few of the rooms. And when I asked him, do you have any other pictures? He said no. So I thought, well, get it under contract and then have my boots on, because I'm 1,000 miles away.
Hold on.
Then,
Have you put a contingency in it for inspection period?
yes.
Okay, so then you're good. And during that time, you want to just do your boots on the ground thing. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the right way. You're taking action and you're doing it in the right. So now the one newbie mistake would have been you got excited, you put it under contract, and either you did not put a contingency for inspection period or it's too short and it passes and you can't get your boots on the ground in there, right? So a classic newbie mistake and you avoided it. Perfect. And who do you think you're gonna get? You can, I know what's his name, with Joey uses Ken. You can use Ken. You can use a whole bunch of other people, right, to do your boots on the ground thing.
Interestingly, my cousin who's in construction, he's not in this group. Talking to him a few months ago, he says, "Yeah, I'll do that for you anytime." So I called him and I told him where it's at, and he says, "I will not go in that part of town."
Well, but
So,
see, this is what
okay.
Scott teaches. Remember, this is what Scott teaches. If you're not in the community, you're going to make this comment, which obviously, after you understand, you've been here long enough to understand that this is a typical thing that somebody from the outside would say that, oh, I would not go there. But, you just have to figure out that, did you look at the neighborhood? The neighborhood is not all boarded up or anything like that, right?
Well, I found, I don't know yet.
I mean, you have the address.
I have the address.
Can
Yes.
you do the Google Map drive-through? So that will, I mean, it's not very accurate in terms of timing. It's maybe a few months behind, but it still tells you, how the neighborhood is, right? If whether the entire neighborhood is boarded up or anything like that, So that you can do now.
I just jotted that down. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I would do that.
Thank
That's
you.
what I do. The first thing what I do is if I look at a house and I don't have any more pictures or much things about it, the first thing I do is like Scott teaches is I would just do Google Map and look at the picture and then look at the house next door, look at the house on the other side, turn around, look in front, and then drive from one end to the other end. And that tells you how the whole block is. If the block, yes, it's a dangerous area, but you see cars parked there. People are living.
Babe, you should listen to this.
That's what Scott talks about. As long as people are living there, that's fine.
I'm on the newbie
work.
call.
Does that make sense?
We have a
Yes.
newbie
Yes,
call
it
every
does. Yes, that makes perfect sense. And so in school, I did find boots on the ground. The first one I called, she said no, she's really into the wholesaling now. She doesn't do boots on the ground. But Darren Knox,
Yes.
he had highly recommended Anthony. And so I called Anthony today and he said, sure, I can go do it Saturday. And he's familiar with the program. And so yes, we're looking forward to it.
Okay. So all of these guys that you mentioned, they're on that sheet, right?
Yes.
Perfect. That's what I would use because they're familiar with the program. They're very reasonable. They probably charge $50. They'll take pictures. Now, what I would say is all the things that are missing in what you need to assess the property, ask him for it. So I would ask him, hey, do you mind taking pictures from the outside all around the house? So not just the front, the side, the back, a couple of pictures of the roof, as much as he can because of the elevation you may not be. You know how important roof is right now, right? So if the condition of the roof is good, that's a big plus, right? So and you want all pictures of all the mechanicals. You want to make sure there's a furnace, there's a water heater. You want to make sure there's a breaker box there, right? Those are the big things you want your boots on the ground to take pictures of.
Yes, yes, and I'm writing all that down. And you just reminded me I need to contact Mike Grizzle and get the insurance going on that.
Yeah, that I would do only after you pass your inspection. You're sure you're going to close, then you can get a quote from him. Even then, you don't have to buy. I would only buy once you have your hard statement, which means you're going to close, right? So because once you pay and let's say it doesn't close, something comes up, now you got to get a refund because you've already paid for it. You see what I'm saying? So I would wait till the very last moment because Mike can do that for you. You can just tell him, hey, I'm still not sure. I want to wait till the actual date when I'm going to close. That's what I do with Mike. I literally tell him, hey, we might be another week or two on this. So I might want to wait till the last moment. And then when I'm really sure, 2 or 3 days back, I'd tell him, okay, can you make it as of, I don't know, 4th of April or whatever? And he'll do it. He can do it right there and then. And send you a link, you pay, and you're, are you self-funding it?
The $2,000.
Oh, this one is this one. Okay, so
it's total seller finance.
Yeah, seller finance. I would talk to Mike about this and see what he would recommend, but the minimum is still 50,000 in most cases. So I would just go by what he says. He's so knowledgeable. He'll just guide you.
But Amir, make sure that the house is insurable. I know you wait till the last minute to put the policy in action, but you still want to talk to Mike to make sure that house is going to be insurable.
That's a good point because we don't still know the condition of the house, but I know Mike says that they are writing policies in St. Louis. So yeah, I would just send him an address. Within their software, as soon as he puts in the address, it actually tells him that, oh, this area or this house is not insurable. So that is something. But remember what we also concluded after this, because Joey has said that, because I saw Joey's making all these comments. He has a lot of properties that are in really bad condition, but he always finds insurance policies. Some insurance company will cover it. So, and even Mike said that look, if I'm not able to cover it, that doesn't mean that you cannot find somebody else. It's just going to be more expensive.
Okay. Yes, and the closings, it's fairly quick. I said April 15th. So.
Yeah, because it's the owner, he's seller financing it. There's no financing, there's nobody doing. So what is that? If you don't want to say, it's okay, but I'm just curious, how much money down do you need for this?
I offered him 2,000.
Okay.
and he's financing the 22,000.
Right. I mean,
it's a
you can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
So.
And so once you do close, hopefully you will post some pictures and tell your story. I think what people kind of really learn from something is really the story. So this whole thing that you explain is an amazing story, right? People stop believing that, oh, you can't find properties on Facebook or you can't, but you just need one. If you find one good one, it's a good experience. But well, congratulations and just keep us posted, okay?
Thank you. Will do. Thank you, Amir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. V, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, yeah, I have two questions actually. The first one is, I'm seeing, I'm going through the material and I'm seeing hearing Scott talk a lot about sitting down in the living room and doing these deals, so forth and so on. But then on the other hand, it's like, okay, he's got somebody who, he's in another country and he's doing the SlowFlips. And I'm wondering if I'm getting things a little bit confused between the wholesaling and the SlowFlips. Like, can you do wholesaling remotely as well? You know, because my market is not, I don't think it's conducive to at least SlowFlips, right? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, you know, like you said, there's cycles in real estate. You said it's like a 16-year cycle. Scott's been through a lot, right? He went through a time where he kind of, you know, 2007, 2008, where he kind of lost everything. And I'm just wondering, you know, just given how things are right now lately, the economy tanks, people start losing their jobs or whatever. Like, has this model been kind of stress tested? Like, I just thought to myself, well, okay, fine. If something happened, yeah, I know I can get somebody else in the house, right? If it's a slow flip. But if things get really bad, maybe I can do Section 8. But then, you know, with government programs being cut and everything like that, maybe that's not viable. I don't know. You know, it's just one of those little fears. You know, you wonder, you know, what would happen if you have a whole bunch of these, especially in the beginning years, right? The first 3 to 5 years, and you still have this note that you have to pay off. And part of the reason I asked that too is because I have a duplex and I had it in one of the worst places for landlords in New York State. So when COVID came around, guess what? And I was trying to evict a tenant. I started evicting this tenant in 2019, and it took me 4 years to get her out.
Oh my God.
4 years. The only thing about it was she was on Section 8, so I was getting part of the money, but her part she wasn't paying. You know, and of course she's always calling, this thing's broken, that's it. You know what I mean? So I just wonder about that. So those are my 2 questions.
All right. So the first question was about how Scott teaches, where
Remote.
he physically go, and okay.
Yes.
Well,
Like
first of all, understand
Mhm.
that Scott started the program before teaching the SlowFlip program, right? So he was
Mhm.
wholesaling, and how he was doing in his own market. He still does that. So he would. That's why he would put up the signs. That's why he would then go to the person, meet with them personally, and all that, right? So since you want to do this, where are you based, Lee? May I ask?
I'm in Florida. I'm in
Florida.
Central
Okay.
Florida, in Ocala.
Got it. And you're going to be buying obviously in the Midwest, right? Just like me, I'm in Texas and I
Okay.
don't buy anything in Texas anymore. I'm buying in. So from the very beginning, now I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what I did. As soon as I started the program, now remember, let me make this so that there's context. I have over 20 years of experience in real estate. So going into it, I knew some of the things that he was talking about, and I knew that I don't need to do that again. So going into the program, I knew I was not going to go put billboard or all kinds of signs or flyers, anything like that, because I was not planning on physically going and meeting with potential sellers, right? That was not what I was going to do anyway. So I just missed that entire module. It didn't apply to me, right? I was not planning on doing it. So if that's not what you want to do, then you don't even have to look at that module. Now, whether you can do wholesale remotely, absolutely. There's a whole bunch of people in our community doing it. There's a guy, Dean. I don't know if you know him. He lives in Hawaii, and he does remote. So talk about remote, right?
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely, you can. So how would you do that? Well, the fundamentals don't change, which means you're still going to do the research. You still will have to figure out, now, who are you going to sell? Obviously, what we are talking about is you're going to, by the way, I actually did a video on wholesaling. So if you look at I put the link in the chat, go back and try to look for it. So I break it down. So if you want to do that and you're interested in doing that, watch that video. It'll actually break it down for you. But just to give you an idea, if you want to do it for the community, you just have to make sure that the property is viable for your end buyer. So it's going to be some other person in our community like you who's wanting to buy a slow flip. So if the numbers don't work, or the property is in not the right condition for like close to habitable, then you have a problem. Do you see that? So I would really work on those things. Now, what is your experience in real estate other than owning that rental?
That's it. I mean, that was a rental that I actually lived in, so I owned it for almost it's over 25 years. I was living there, then I moved to Florida, and then I rented it out, and then I did a 1031, and I have a duplex down here in Florida. So that's it. I mean, a lot of those things that Scott mentioned that landlords go through, I feel like I've gone through it all, but it was just with
Absolutely.
one property, but it was like the whole range of, that roller coaster and
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah, I've been through it all.
Yeah. No.
But
So
yeah, that's it.
yeah. So watch those videos, especially the one I made about wholesaling. That'll give you some basics on that. And that'll help you through. Because when I made those videos, that's what I was thinking, that it should be for people who have a little or much less experience than people who have a lot of experience. Because all it takes is that extra confidence and really knowledge about real estate transactions to be able to do this in a big volume or to do it right. Right. So if you understand the fundamentals, it's not very hard, but I would still educate yourself before you would do your first wholesale.
Okay.
All right.
Got you. Okay.
Okay.
And what about like the stress test type of thing, like going through the hard
Oh,
times,
yeah.
hard economic times?
So you know what? Nobody knows the future. Even if I told you whatever I tell you, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing that actually Scott just put literally maybe an hour ago on School, which I also saw. You saw that all of your stock market is declining. I mean, I'm talking about just going straight lines down. Well, guess what? It's great news for us, because I've spoken to I have a system through which I get private money lenders. And I had few private money lenders who I had spoken to a couple of weeks back or months back. They're reaching out to me now because guess what? If they had their portfolio or part of their portfolio in the stock market, well, now they're hurting. Now they're hurting really bad. So they're going to be moving money into real estate, into other assets, which have nothing to do with the actual, how the economy is working. Now, having said that, people, what we provide is what we call basic utility, which is where people live, right? So yes, economy will affect things, but that's one of the last thing, right? People will do everything before they lose their home. So in that sense, we are in good shape. I wouldn't worry about it right now.
Okay, great. All right, Amir, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome. Absolutely. Hey, Ricardo, unmute yourself. Go ahead.
The one good thing that, there were several things, obviously, because there's a lot of education in that, and just having that one-on-one with somebody speaking about something that you're not familiar with. But the one thing that came out about that is I found my what I wanted to do. So I had close to 90,000 in this account, and I wasn't I didn't want it all to be about my retirement, because I'd like to have today money too. So at the end of the day, I pretty much figured that what I plan to do with this account that's dead and sitting there, I can't add to it, is that I don't want to get too ahead of it, but I do want I plan to take personal money for my personal LLC, build from there, and then self-direct the rest of the remainder in there that I have, and then maybe use that for another property.
Okay.
So today, Melissa Cody sent something out about a property that in Mississippi for 26.9. I saw the pictures, and it was like 4:15, 4:30, somewhere in that range. When I saw that, I quickly sent her a message, said that I was interested. Before 5 o'clock, I'm on the phone with my deferred compensation, withdrawing 30,000 to my account. So, and I just before this meeting, I was on the phone with her for quite a while. I signed an assignment agreement, and the closing is scheduled to be around April 17th.
All right.
And
Congratulations.
I'm going in, clawing and kicking, but I'm going in, and
Absolutely.
I'll learn along the way, and if I don't do it this way, I'll always stay stuck in the mud, and I don't want to be stuck in the mud.
Amir, can I just jump in real quick? I bought a wholesale house from Melissa as well last year, so I think you're in good hands. She was great to work with. I bought it from her, and I turned around, sold it in the Jackson market, and it was a great experience. So just FYI.
I appreciate that, and I felt great speaking with her. She seems like she's going to be a big support for me in the process as well, with her knowledge of that area. So I'm excited.
And see, that's the benefit of the community. One thing I do want to caution you, because I don't think any newbie will do that, is that even I don't do that. I do not buy from anybody who's not a wholesale deal. I will not buy a wholesale deal from anybody outside the community. Even though I have a lot of experience, it's that when you're dealing with somebody outside the community, there's no reference point. You have no idea who this person is, whether they've done fraud, and they do it all the time. You have no idea. At least in the community, just like you have a contract with Melissa, and there are other people. They have a track record. They're doing it, and they're inside a community. So everybody is concerned about their reputation. Nobody will, they'll do their best to help you out. So I'm glad. I'm so happy that because I saw you speak during was it just yesterday with Scott, and today you have amazing results. So awesome! Congratulations, and yeah, just be committed, and you're on the right path. And I'm also here for you if you need help. Just reach out to me. People do send me messages on school, and I do respond. So if you ever have any questions, I'll be able to help you as well.
I appreciate you 100%, Amir. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Ethan, go ahead, unmute yourself, please.
Hey, how are you? First of all, it's my second time here, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
Just realized that you're volunteering, so thank you very much for doing this for us, for the newbies with all the questions. So thank you. I'm also in Texas. Which part of Texas are you from?
I'm in North Dallas.
Okay, nice. That's great. Okay, I'm going to message you something that's not related to SlowFlips after this.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So literally the day I signed up, you guys posted these mini groups, I think up to 5 new newbies that you guys training until I think someone told me until someone is actually purchasing the very first SlowFlips, and then they respectfully leaving this group and making room for the other newbies that want to join. I was not lucky enough to be to join that very first time. And I was just wondering if there's like any more new applications that you're getting.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up, and I'm glad that you're showing up on these meetings, and that's the point of this, is to be a resource to help you. Major, are you there? If Major is here, he can actually search it for you, but there is a posting in school about the pod. So if you put my name and you put newbie pod, that posting will come up. That original posting has a link for I believe it has a link for the application.
Do I need to reapply, or because you already have?
Yes, you already applied?
I did apply the day.
Okay, so don't worry about it, because everybody who applies is on a wait list.
Okay, got it.
So when there's an opening, Beth is the one running it. What she will do is she'll reach out back again, and she will go through the list, and from that list, she will decide, who is, she's the one let her decide on how she's going to make a decision. She's going to make a decision based on who has the urgency, honestly, because everything comes down to, who wants to really achieve something, right? So if you're wanting to achieve something, you're going to be on top. And also it is first come, first serve. So however she's doing it, but it's all on waitlist, so you don't have to reapply.
I was just wondering, because one of the questions were if I already watched the videos, and I said, I'm sticking to the truth. I said, no, I literally signed up. I literally got an access just an hour ago. Now I did go through almost all the videos, so like my answers would be different if I would.
That's a good point. Then you can reapply, and then in the comment you can mention that the reason why you're reapplying is because when you first. That's a very good reason.
Got it.
I would do.
Perfect. One quick question, maybe it's a bit ahead of myself, but I'm very ready very, very soon to pull the trigger and start with the very first one. I know it's a whole process, but let's say I'm starting with the very first, let's say SlowFlips with my own funds. I know again, it could be more complicated, but if you just want to make it like in a 20, 30 seconds, just step by step, in terms of like, let's say I'm finding the property that I want to invest, what is like the things that I have to do on my end? So is it like insurance, boots on the ground from my side, which most likely we don't have the same boots on the ground from the seller side? This, with my understanding,
absolutely,
like lawyers. What's like, if you can a quick rundown?
Very, very good question. So number one, I put in the chat a link to where all the videos are saved on my website. So if you go there are more than 25 videos. One of the videos, the first one, it's also posted on school. It actually, exactly what you're asking me, it shows you, and it's with a slide. So it's very much, I will answer your question, but what I'm saying is
Okay.
that is very detailed. It
Okay.
actually visually shows you what is the first thing you have to do, what is the second thing. So literally it tells you step by step what to do. All right.
Mhm.
But let's take a scenario. So let's say you have cash. So that's you're ahead because you have funds available to make a decision. You have to make a decision. Are you going to buy on the MLS via the MLS, or are you going to buy from somebody in the community? Both are viable. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. By the way, for your reference, my first deal was bought on the MLS. I buy half my deals on the MLS and half from people in our community. So the process will be a little bit different if you buy on the MLS, and it'll be a little bit different if you buy from somebody in the community. So let's take the easy one first, somebody in the community.
Yeah.
If somebody is selling in the community, they are wholesaling, which means they don't own the property, right? They have put it under contract based on their experience. Hopefully they have a little bit more knowledge. They vetted the property and the property looks good. They're bringing it for you. Before I say anything else, everybody, I want you to listen to this. Stop right now and just listen to this. It does not matter if somebody in the community has a property under contract. It is your due diligence that you have to decide that the property meets the requirement. I can tell you that there are a lot of properties on the wholesalers that are selling right now that I would personally not buy. So let me repeat that. All right. It's nothing bad about them. I'm just saying there's a whole spectrum. Joey is an example. Joey is so experienced and he's so networked. He can buy just walls and he can sell it. Right. So he's an exception. So other than that, especially for you, I want you guys to be very careful. Your first deal, even if you have to pay a little bit more and a little bit more than better condition, I would do that rather than take a risk by buying something with a bad roof or, oh no, I'll take a risk. I would not do that, especially for your first slow flip. And Scott has a good reason for that. Scott says if your first experience is bad, it's going to affect your rest of the things that you're going to do. So your first deal is very important that it ends up being a success. All right. So okay. So let's say you're buying from somebody from the community. They send you the information. You have to do your due diligence. So even though they have done whatever they've done, you have to decide is that something you want to buy. So I call this, and you can copy this idea. I call it buy box. And a buy box is somebody people in real estate use, which simply means that your own criteria. And what that means is you decide on your criteria, but you stick with it. You don't keep changing it depending on, oh, I found this property, or you know what, it's in a different area. You know what, I'll go with that area. No, because that way you'll be going all over the place. So you decide on your buy box and you stick with it. And I'll give you my buy box. I buy, currently I'm buying in Illinois, Toledo, Ohio, and I started buying in Michigan. These are the three areas I'm in right now. I buy homes that are at least 2 bedroom, 1 bath. So I don't buy 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I don't buy, I only buy single family homes. So I don't buy duplexes and triplexes. Do you see that? So it's my buy box. I don't stay away from that. I don't buy homes if it has a missing furnace or a water heater. In some instances, I might make an exception, but usually I stay with that. I don't buy houses if there's a breaker box missing, right? I don't buy homes where the roof is substantially bad or, of course, leaking. I don't buy homes with foundation issues. Those are my big buy box things. Do you see that? Now, what that means is sometimes, yes, I look at properties and they don't fit in that buy box. Fine.
How can you check
Keep looking.
foundations with just
Huh?
boots? If I got it right, boots on the ground is someone who will physically go there and take pictures, but maybe they know they foundation pros and they don't even know to tell us if how do you know about the foundation?
That's a very good question. So I'm not talking about doing any kind of an advanced inspection and all. 90% of the cases, especially when you're talking about old homes, your foundation issues are literally visual. I'm telling you, yes, exactly. I mean, I'm not telling, I mean, it's really so easy. You see inside pictures and you'll see a whole bunch of cracks.
Cracks on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, those are very, very easy things. I recently, there was a wholesaler who was selling a house, and I just looked at the picture and I told him, you know, the property has foundation issue. He didn't know that. And I told him, you know, all you have to do is just look at the pictures and you can see on the foundation side, it was just crooked. And so it's not very hard. So that's why pictures are very important. So if you're looking at property and there are not enough pictures, so I would make a decision. Is it worth wasting time If you do not get enough pictures, I just move on. I really need to have pictures because I'm remote. So the only way I can, before send out a boots on the ground there and spend $50, I want to make sure that yes, it's worth pursuing. And so I have to look at pictures, and there are enough pictures, especially if I know the condition of the mechanicals, and I know that especially the numbers also work out. So I do these things very, very fast because I have some experience with that. And sometimes you'll get properties. So going back to your example, once you decide you like the property, then the wholesaler will send you a one-page assignment contract. You will sign it, and there might be some earnest money that might be required, so you'll have to deposit it with the title company. Now everybody's getting ready to close. They will give you a closing date, and then they will ask you who is going to fund. If you're going to self-fund it, they'll give you information, wiring information from the title company that your funds have to be at the title company on this and this date, because that's when the closing will happen. You do have to ask the title company or the wholesaler that you do need to look at the settlement statement, which is called the HUD-1, so you know exactly right to the cents what is the amount needed to close. Because remember, you're going to get some credits. Your insurance, not the insurance, but taxes are prorated, so you might get credit if there's a tenant in there. You might get credit for that. So the amount might change, right? So now when the closing happens, you have to make sure you get your insurance quotes, and you at least know how much it's going to cost. And as soon as you're ready to close, you need to make sure that the moment it closes, the property is covered. Because even minutes, fire happened within minutes, and you're not be covered. So you want to make sure, because it doesn't really cost you anymore to cover it for one more day or anything like that. And that's it. Once you're done, you've done the property. Now you simply go to our community. Within our community, we have fillers.
Yeah.
And there are different teams of fillers, and there are fillers who operate themselves. So the biggest filler group that I know of is Joey's group, which Joey doesn't run it. It's now, I think Cameron is managing it. So if you just send Cameron the address, he just sends it out to everybody that works with him. And so multiple people are marketing your property. And and you tell them, this is what I want for down payment, this is the price I'm thinking of. And if you're off, they'll just help you. They'll say, hey, this is what we're seeing in the market. Can we do this? And discuss.
More experience with it,
Yeah, exactly. And
they charge 50% from the down payment.
They charge 50% of the down payment. Now what's happened is in Illinois, there are some changes because of the notary and all that. There are some additional expenses. So they need to disclose that to you, which they will usually. So they'll let you know, okay, on top of that, if we do this for you, which means get the notary and all that, this is what the additional costs are. And mostly just passing on those costs to you, that it's not any additional that they're making. That's the entire process. I couldn't talk any faster than that. But like I said, watch that video. That's better. It goes into more details.
And last two quick things, because I know Jenny's
sure. Go ahead.
We don't have a lot of time. You just mentioned something about Michigan just now, and I saw a lot of mixed comments about Michigan. And I think a week ago he was talking about the insurance about Michigan. Do you feel comfortable investing there?
Yes, that's a good question. So Michigan is a state.
Yeah.
So Detroit is the problem. And honestly, somebody actually just sent me a message because they saw my old comment from last year. And I don't think he got upset, but he said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I got a whole bunch of property in Detroit. And I didn't mean to say that, Detroit is bad. This was a year ago when I had actually done some research, and I was thinking about going to Detroit. And I found that, in my opinion at that time, there's a whole bunch of pockets that are really bad, but then there are good pockets. So it's a little questionable for me. So I decided not to. But I'm in another market in Michigan.
Is it Flint? I saw
Saginaw. Yeah, Flint is also good.
Got it. Okay. And last quick thing, it's not a question, but you were talking about Dean. So a big shout out to Dean. One of the main reasons I'm here is thanks to him. He was very patient with all my questions before I completed my sign up. So great Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now he's working on sales. I heard that he's helping with the sales. He's also a student and
yeah, well, I'm doing sales for a living and he did a very good job with me. So
okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you very much for the help.
You're welcome. Jenny, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hey there. I'm gonna go to not so noisy area. So we're supposed to close tomorrow. on a home, and I already wired money, so I think it might be too late. But we had a kind of a really bad news that we learned about it. So I'm doing due diligence the best that I can, and we knew that we needed a new roof. But the home is going to be $21,000. So I built that into my numbers. I got multiple estimates earlier this week, and like 4 or 5 companies, without going to the home, they did the satellite, and they all told me between $8 and like a $10,000, $12,000. The highest quotes were 12,000. Well, today the roofer went actually to the home, one of those roofers, and he said, "Oh my gosh," he goes, "normally this would be under 10,000, but it's going to be 20,000 because you have a hold on, let me get the word." He said that you have the a cedar shake roof.
Okay.
So we're getting some more estimates tomorrow. The realtor is confident, like her roofer can give a better price. It's a 2-bedroom, and I have to decide in the next 2 hours, Michigan time, if I want to cancel or not. And it's a wholesaler from our group, and he's like irritated with me and everything, but I didn't know this information until 2 hours ago. So what would you do?
That's a hard situation to be in, but I can't comment on that because it's unfortunately it's a decision you'll have to make. But I have a story for you that might be either an inspiration for you and it might help you. Okay. And it's exactly a similar situation. So I bought a home in Springfield, Illinois, which is a small market. So I bought this home, but the difference is yours is 2-bedroom. That home was 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and it had a bad roof. So going in, I knew the roof was bad, but I bought it so cheap, and otherwise the house was really fine. It was just the roof. I bought it so cheap that I thought, you know what? Same thing that you're thinking. I can put a roof for like 10 grand. I still had enough spread in there. It's a 3-bedroom. The numbers worked. And so what I did was I got somebody in there. We disclosed everything. Of course, they did the inspection and they said, we are handy. We'll take care of it. We'll do it. You just pay for the supplies. And I said, great, let's do that. I'll pay you for we'll figure out a way. Well, they did the inside and they're handy. But when it came to roof, they decided that, it was just it was just really bad. It was so bad that they could not do it. Well, guess what? Same thing happened to me that happened to you. That when I actually started getting quotes, they were substantially higher because when you have 2, 3, 4, 5 layers on an old roof, you know what people do, right? They just keep putting it. Then it's so bad that you have to take them off. When you have to take them off, it's more work, right? You gotta really take things off. It takes twice as more, So I was getting quotes in the 20 grand plus because I was in a smaller market. So there were very few contractors to begin with there. So I was really stuck. Now, what do I do? So my luck, what happened was, so I went back to the tenants and I said, so these people, they are both husband and wife truck drivers. They drive 18-wheelers, so they make good money. And so I told them, look, I'm getting these quotes and they're like 20 plus. And those, so you know what they said? They say, you know what? If you finance it, we'll pay the monthly charge. Well, guess what I did? I borrowed money. I paid the company. We got a new roof on it, and they're paying extra $300 a month.
Okay.
They're very happy with it, and I'll get a new roof. So I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying that I wasn't prepared for it, but I found a solution for it. So you may be able to find a solution for it, but if you are, it does come down to you being comfortable with the situation. If you're not comfortable with the situation, you have to make a decision. And another thing is, if you don't want to destroy your relationship with the wholesaler, maybe you can pay them something outside, just compensate them for how much they were going to make on this deal. And I think that may not be the issue in this situation because usually the wholesaler also have a commitment with the seller, right? So they're assuming they're going to close and now they can't close, right? That's why wholesaling is if you don't know what you're doing, you can get into that situation. So that's why it's risky. So I can't tell you exactly what to do. That's unfortunate. You have to make a decision. But anytime when you're not comfortable with it, 100% on it, you should have the ability to say no. So you talk to to the wholesaler and explain the situation and see if, some other solution can come out of it.
Okay. The other question I have real quick, I have my first, I filled my first two properties. One was an investor, one with a family. And the family one, it's like the fourth, and they haven't paid me yet. And they're saying that they're going to pay. The wife is waiting for the husband to give her money because they're living separately right now. And I've been texting her like twice or three times since the first, and she still hasn't paid me. So I don't know, like, would you text like every day or like every 3 days? Or I don't want to be too much, but
Yeah.
it's
So I did a video on this, believe it or not, about tenant buyer communication. So there's a whole video on it, but just to
in school. Okay.
No, I did the video. So it's on the website, the link that I put it in there. So it's in a school, newbie coaching calls. So there's a recording there, and
Okay.
the title of the recording is tenant buyer communication. So I talk about how I do it. And the way I do it, I've never, not a single time, spoken on a phone with my tenant buyer. I don't do that. Everything is in writing, and everything is through templates, which means text message is only if there's an emergency and all that. 99% it's through Inago or through email. Those are templates. And I don't go after them and say, oh, please, when are you paying? No, they just get a notice, and if they don't pay, I just file for eviction. If they're behind 30 days, I don't wait for 10-day
Okay.
notices. You don't wait for that. And, don't, these stories and all that, that is not your concern. You don't want to be, you still want to be polite, but you want to be very clear what your expectations are, and so that they know that you're serious. And let me give you a quick example. So when I first started, this was my, I think, third or fourth deal property, and two of my tenants, they were paying late, and so initially I thought, no, I'll give them some time, but I thought, you know what, I have to have the right precedence. So what I did was I paid extra $50, and I had somebody go in and post the 10-day notice on their door. Since then, they've never been late. I mean, if they're late, they pay a late fee, but they're never delinquent.
What does
Because
the 10-day notice say on it? What is it?
Well, it just says that, so this was in Toledo, so there is notice of forfeiture based on the contract for deed. So that is a actual document that says that we are giving you a notice that you're now delinquent, and you have another 10 days to cure. And if you don't, then we will start the eviction process. The issue is not what's in the letter. It's an issue not what it says or what the issue is that when they receive a letter, they now feel that this landlord is not joking or just texting or calling. He's serious, that he will file for eviction. And I will honestly, I just wait for the date and I will file it and I will send them the date. That's how you will have somebody who wants to be your tenant buyer and wants it. Because remember, this is what Scott says, you want a lifer. And the lifer will also respect you if you tell them that you're serious, that you will do whatever you will do. But, if you have to take care of business, you will take care of business. And that's by having your own systems and just following your system regardless of how you feel about it. So that's
okay. That helps.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Sure. All right. So I see some other faces. Jason, hey man, how are you? What's going on? Unmute yourself. Let's chat. Anything new?
Hey, Amir.
Anything new with you?
Well, you mentioned wholesaling just a little bit ago, and I was, of course, I'm in South Carolina, and I'm doing some wholesaling here. So some lessons about contingencies for those who are thinking about wholesaling.
Yeah.
I have a property here that, through direct mail, some door knocking, some posting, some sticker, posting the Post-it notes up, got a call back. And the fellow who lived there passed away, and his brother had taken ownership of it. So we built a rapport. Took about 3-4 phone calls. The guy lives in New York, so and we went down there, and I did an inspection, and took a partner of mine who is a contractor, does a lot of flipping, and he sent his actual contractor, and we walked through and said, "Hey, that's great," and ran across some numbers, and we go, "Okay, we'll go ahead and sign the deal." So we got the deal, right?
All right.
So got the deal. Got that this past last week, Tuesday or so. So signed the contract. Contingency period started. So you have to be very quick on the contingency. This is a 10-day. I had a 10-day in this one.
Yeah.
So today we go on there and we get the more detailed inspection, right? The first time you go through, it's just, okay, I'm gonna look around. Let me do some video, things like that. This is the more detailed inspection. Found some foundation issues. So now the price that I went to the guy with, I'm gonna have to go back to him and say, hey, that price I told you about, remember because I explained I'm very clear and upfront. I say, hey, this contingency period is about catastrophes, catastrophic things that are going to cause me to pull out.
Yeah.
So those things, when we're talking about $30,000 for a foundation to fix a foundation issue, you need to have those contingencies. You need to have that due diligence.
Right.
And I'm going to go a step further because, again, I build rapport and respect this guy. I am going to have a guy who's even more detailed to work up a whole bunch of more written estimates on Sunday, just so I go back and say, listen, these are the facts. So he doesn't think I'm the wholesaler who just tries to come in there and get something on the contract and then, you've got all these problems. No, this is what we found, which again, being very clear about your communication with them up front. So there's good lessons about contingencies and walkthroughs and multiple to make sure it's all done.
Maybe we'll get you on a future call talking about wholesale. Maybe we'll do that.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, guys, it's about an hour. So thank you for joining, and we will see you all next week. Have a great week. Bye now.
Thank you.